your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer, when your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control, and we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
5 months. In 5 months, that's when football starts. But it's back. It's back now. Football. That's right. Schedule release yesterday. Everybody, we did it. We made it to Friday. Let's give it up for Friday.
All right. Yeah.
Give it up for Friday.
Yeah.
Football, missed you.
There you go. Dave Damashek, of course, joining us from out on the West Coast. Hello, Dave. How are you today?
Zaslow, first of all, congratulations. A nice little write-up on you in awful announcing. Good to see you get some flowers there. And yes, like the football season 2026, I'm born anew. I gave myself a new haircut for this occasion, and now I'm ready to launch into 2026 football in 5 months. And in between, I hate to start off on a sour note, everybody, but I looked up this morning and realized it's just about all over. Yes, we can make snarky remarks about the schedule release of the NFL, but after a few more NHL and NBA games, we got nothing but baseball.
Okay.
Nothing but baseball.
Hold that thought for a
Mike
second.
Ryan's going to jump in.
Hold
but
that
that's
thought
not
for a
what I'm
second,
talking
Dave.
about.
You gave yourself a haircut?
I did, yeah. I since COVID, 2 major events. I haven't worn denim jeans since COVID, and I've been cutting my own hair since that event.
All right, now I want to ask about that. Why have
pandemic.
you not worn denim jeans since COVID? What is the correlation there?
It wasn't really an act of choice. It just is something that happened, and I looked up a couple of years after the fact and realized, you know what? Then denim jeans have been sitting on the shelf for quite some time, and I went back in my brain and realized it was during COVID. Remember, all rules were off. As we get a half decade away from COVID, Zaslow, can you look the man in the mirror and say that there weren't some benefits to it? I'm not trying to diminish the real life consequences, the heavy consequences, but for your life, did you gain something from the experience? I kind of did. I didn't mind sitting around a lot in the house. People lamented, like, I can't go out. I was like, I can't go out. Terrific.
I gained weight. That's it. That's the only thing I gained.
How much?
I don't know. I'm not one that steps on the scale on a daily basis, but I know that is certainly what I gained during COVID. Now
Did you
let's
start hitting the bottle?
Oh, of course. We did so much drinking. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So much alcohol.
Did you have a rule? Did you have a rule?
No,
I don't start until 5 or anything like that.
Oh, you know what? That's an interesting question, actually, okay? Because there have certainly been times where I'm only going to drink on the weekends, all right? And then the weekend quickly turned into, the weekend's obviously also Friday. So now we're doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then it's like, hey, when I was in college, Thursday night was a big drinking night, all right? You go out on Thursday. So now we're doing most of the week we're drinking. And then it just turned into, if I feel like drinking, I'm going to drink.
Well, it's funny because I've been saying for about 20 years now that I have future Dave isn't going to be living for much. I'll live vicariously through my kids. That's why I had them, because I'm vain. I want to get something from it, and I suspect that when I'm old, I'll just live through them financially and otherwise. But also, I used to say when I turn 80, all bets are off. That's when the heroin starts. But then I moved it up to 75 a few years ago. I'm thinking now 65 years of age, 65 years of age, I start taking the spike. How say you?
Okay, I thought I was the only one. Well, me and my friend. And now Dave is doing the same thing. I have a pact with a friend that if we both live until 90, we're going to do heroin. I didn't know that that's something that other people have.
Did you make that pact with Dan? Because he has this take too.
But no.
Yeah, Dan
really
wants to become a huge heroin guy.
I mean, Dave has the
Sure.
take also. I did not know this.
William S. Burroughs, Zaslow, and Damashek. And Le Batard's welcome to the party, too, to our heroin den.
Me and my buddy have a plan that when we get in our 70s, we're going to go to the horse track every day.
So you're just going to be normal. You're just
bet
going to be a normal
horses.
guy.
So you're just
Bet
going to
horses.
become your dad.
Okay, now, Dave, back to the hair. How are you cutting your own? Like, you got scissors in the back of your head?
That's how well I'm doing it well is the answer. As you can plainly see. Okay, the wife gets very upset. She's always got it. I don't know who she thinks appointed her to be the negative Nancy about everything, but she's always like ugh. You're going to Miami? Oh, no, you have to go to a professional barber and get that fixed. Look at what you did to your hair. And I say, I can't see what I did. I can only see the front, and that's all anybody sees anyway. Who cares? I'm not a three-dimensional person anymore. All you're seeing is this punum staring at you. Who cares what's in the back there? It's an afterthought to me, literally and figuratively. Apparently, I don't do a great job on the back.
It's hard.
I think the results are in. This looks pretty good, right?
It looks like shit.
I do my own hair.
Please.
I do my own. I do it myself. Does that surprise
That
anyone?
I believe.
Yeah, I do it myself.
How would we know with that hat?
Well, you could just imagine, all right? So, yesterday, the Dolphins' schedule came out. That's right. A very big to-do. At 8 o'clock last night, the Miami Dolphins and the rest of the NFL, they released their schedule. And, I mean, I look at this, and you know what? I got 3 wins here.
Oh, man, it's brutal.
I got 3. I'm looking at 3. You should have heard, Dave, you should have heard Chris Cody's rationale as we're looking at the Dolphins' schedule before the show starts. He thinks that week 1 game at Vegas,
It's big.
huge tone setter. Because if the Dolphins lose that game, if they lose that game at Vegas, you're staring at a 2-win season. And I piped up. I said, if they win that game, then you're staring at a 3-win season?
No,
what's the difference here?
If they win that game, they're looking at a standard bad 4 or 5 win season. If you come out of the gates 1-0 against Las Vegas, even though Las Vegas is not good, you lose that game against a bad Las Vegas team, it's just like, this is going to be awful. They're not going to win a single game against anyone that's decent. They have 2 games against the Jets. They're like, all right, they got to win those, and like they're just going to split those. This is a 2-win team. Big game week 1, Dave.
I mean, in the copycat league, and what have you most recently seen? You know that the team that represented the AFC in the most recent Super Bowl in week 1 lost to the Raiders. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of what happened with the Raiders the rest of the way. I don't think it went real well, except that it yielded them Fernando Mendoza, who the last time we saw him was beating Miami in a big game. And now in week 1, who is Fernando playing?
Chris, can you say that the Raiders are bad when the Dolphins are worse? Can you look at a team that the team is better than the team that you root for and be like, they're bad?
But
It's
if you're the Dolphins, you look at that Raiders game. I get it. The Raiders are looking at it like this is a great week 1 game. I'm not saying, that both teams think this is a winnable game. And I'm just saying this is just a tone setter for the season. For the
Raiders and Dolphins are 2 of 5 teams in the entire NFL. I think the other ones are Arizona, Tennessee, and the Jets. Those 5 teams right there, no national TV games.
good.
None. No national TV. And see, the schedule release is stupid to me. We've known all the teams they're going to play. We know if they're home or away. We just haven't known exactly what week they're playing, okay? Fine, whatever. I don't care. The one thing that I did like when I was a kid that I liked about the schedule coming out was, okay, how many games are the Dolphins playing on Monday Night Football? Like, that was such a big deal to me because that meant the rest of the country is going to get to see how good my team is, And, my father would be able to buy us maybe 1 tickets for one game a season. I want to go to Monday Night Football. That's the game I want to go to. But now, who cares about this schedule release?
I can't remember zero. Like, even the Dolphins, who have been bad forever, they have one Sunday night game. And then even now they don't have Thursday. You know, they've gone away from every team gets Thursday. Dolphins don't even have a Thursday night game, which is kind of good, I guess. But.
Good. You know, I didn't remember until moments before. I was on ESPN last night, so I happened to be thinking about this. And I didn't remember until moments before the schedule came out. Oh, yeah. This is when all the teams, their social media departments, they make the videos. And they put the videos out on Twitter. And it's like, all right, somebody's going to have to do an apology because they're going to be the ones that had Tyreek Hill in handcuffs, and all right, and then there's going to be another team. It's like the big winner. Oh, my God, you were so funny and so creative. So that I do like a little bit, but I didn't see the Dolphins. Like, Chris, you know what the Dolphins did? I did not see that.
The Dolphins did a thing where the players were pulling up to the facility, and it was just like, oh, no, this is intense. And the front desk person's like, Mr. Ross is expecting you. So players were like, oh, I need to see the owner. Mr. Ross, oh, no, this is scary.
What players did they? Like,
it was just
I mean, Dan told us yesterday, there's a bunch of no names on this team.
To that point, there weren't a lot of recognizable players, but just random players. Mr. Ross wants to see you. Mr. Ross wants to see you. Oh, I'm so nervous. They walk into the big reveal, chair spins around, and it's Rick Ross. I don't want to be the guy that I saw it coming, but I guess as soon as the first joke of Mr. Ross wants to see you, I was like, okay, clearly Rick Ross is going to appear. Like, I saw it from a mile away, so it didn't do much for me, but it was trending. It was one of the more popular ones views-wise. So,
what was there anyone that came out as like the clear winner, the most viral social media team?
Detroit.
What did they do?
All business, Zaz. It was Dan Campbell at a computer. He printed out a sheet of paper. He put a thumbtack to it on a board, and it was a static image of a schedule. And I'm sure Dave Damashek loved that.
Listen, I'm not such a cynic that I get down on this. It does have, to Zaslow's point, a little bit of sort of a school project kind of effect that all the students go off into the 32 different directions, and they come back to present to the class their cute little their little project for the year. Look at what Timmy did. Look at what he came up with this year. And then we all have to gather around and applaud and tell them how cute it was. It was fun. Listen, those videos are cute. They now pay top dollar. They go out and hire comedy writers and obviously big time celebrities.
Well, the Colts use the Simpsons. They must have to spend a lot of money to do that, right?
I was wondering about that partnership because clearly they had to flash the what was it, Disney Plus at the back end of it and hold on that at the end of the video. So that must have been a big part of the deal, but they still had to pay out, right, for the Simpsons rights?
I would think so, yeah. Chris, can we play you have a fun one that maybe we could play?
One of my favorite ones was the Raiders one. It was, they have the two quarterbacks that you would call maybe nerdy with Kirk Cousins and Mendoza, so they recreated the Step Brothers.
Hey. Hey. I'm Kirk. I'm Fernando. You're gonna have to call me Kirk O'Chains.
Cool. You're gonna have to call me the Nandalorian.
So this is the locker room, and rule number 1 is do not step on the shield.
What happens if I sneeze around it?
Don't do it!
What if I...
Don't do it! So what's the best Star Wars movie? Empire Strikes Back or Rogue One?
Ha! Trick question. Star Wars A New Hope, which was originally titled just Star Wars in 1977, but then they changed it to Star Wars A New Hope in 1981. Say your favorite football play on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Turbo right, 63 wide shallow. Jinx!
Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Number 1, Fernando Mendoza, a little bit stiff. Number 2, that's really funny. That's a great video. Dave, that's really good.
I like that one a lot. That's very strong. I think that is your winner. I thought the Titans was good.
That's good.
I thought the Colts was fun in parts. I think that would be my winner stand there. 1, 2, 3.
Dave, let's throw it over here to Tony, who was all over.
Okay,
Let's not acknowledge what just happened, okay?
Okay.
I meant to
What?
say
Please acknowledge it.
I meant to say Tony. I accidentally said Dave, so I tried to do a quick cover there.
Quick?
As if I was telling Dave what I was going to do. But there's no reason for me to tell Dave what I'm going to do next. I can just do it.
Yeah.
It's like a waste of time.
But you're okay.
Yeah, I'm all right. Everybody calm down. Tony, NFL schedule release last night. You got a top 5 for us?
I've got a top 5 NFL games I'm looking forward to now with all the schedules set in stone. Wow. Top 5 NFL games of 2026. To get music or no?
Give him some music.
Let's
Come
give him
on.
music at least.
Music means we're serious.
First day of NFL season. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Pick and choose when you want the music.
Pick and choose. It's the NFL. You know that my music hits in the NFL season.
In
Now you gotta
defense
get
of
the
Tony,
hay.
you pick and choose when he has the music.
All right, number 5, the first game of the 2026 season, the Super Bowl rematch. Game 1, Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots. Big game. Hey, huge game. Not for on the field, but for things off the field. I want to see how Mike Grable comes out to that one.
I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, amazing. Patriots, Seahawks opening. Like, whatever. I'm going to watch it. Like, it does. Whoever's playing, I'm going to watch it.
Number 2, all Thanksgiving games. Have you seen the slate for Thanksgiving?
Wouldn't it be number 4?
I
Number
think there's
4, my
like
bad.
5 Thanksgiving games.
There is.
right?
So they have a Thanksgiving Eve, which I don't remember Thanksgiving Eve being a thing. It's like the day you go to Boogie's and hang out with all your friends, correct? That's the Wednesday before
Block party.
Thanksgiving. Oh, my God. You go to Boogie's, Zaz? You know Boogie's?
No.
Oh.
Too far south for him.
Okay, me and you, we'll see each other at Boogie's. But we'll also see Packers-Rams on Thanksgiving Eve. So I'm going to read you the slate. Packers-Rams on Thanksgiving Eve. Then Thanksgiving, we got, of course, the Bears and Lions. We've got the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And then the nightcap, we've got Chiefs and Bills in a massive game. Plus, Black Friday, we got Davies Steelers against the Broncos. So a loaded slate for Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving, and Black Friday.
Dave, you know about that Black Friday?
I know about Black and Gold Friday, friend. Come on, Broncos. We'll see you on the banks of the Three Rivers, Bo.
Maybe Drew Aller be starting by then. Number 3, all Christmas games. Another just absolutely crazy slate for a Christmas day.
Well, what day of the week is Christmas?
I mean, Christmas is always number 2 on these lists. You miss a golden opportunity.
So Christmas is a Friday. So you're telling me it's like a full slate of games on Friday?
We've got Thursday night, Christmas Eve. We've got Texans and Eagles. Christmas Day, we got a triple header. Packers, Bears, Bills, Broncos, Rams, and Seahawks.
The NBA must be so mad.
More on that in a little bit. The Grinch Stole Christmas. Number 2, the entire Bills schedule.
Well, why?
Have you seen it? Have you seen who the
No.
Bills play?
No, why would I be? Why would there be
'Cause
a
I thought you've
point
been
where I
locked in on
say, you know
football.
what? Let me go see the Bills schedule.
Okay, well, I want to read you some of the Bills' schedule outside of their
It's
divisional
almost
games.
unavoidable. They have so many primetime games
Dude,
and
they are
marquee matchups.
the schedule's insane. All right, they start the season at Houston. They play Detroit. They play the Chargers, the Patriots, the Rams. Then they play Baltimore, Minnesota. Then they play Kansas City, New England again, Green Bay, Chicago, Denver. They play 19 games of straight bangers. So the entire Bills schedule is on my list of must-watch games.
Like, other than you just read every game except Dolphins Jets. Like, do they have
Basically.
an easy game outside of Dolphins and Jets? Is there like a game that's like that could be considered
Vegas.
I just think it's interesting that Tony has them playing 19 games when the rest of the league is playing 17.
That kind of thing. Number 1, Week 18, Seattle versus LA in the battle for everything. I love how the NFL pits their 2 best teams against each other in the division late in the season. You could have had 1 game early, 1 game late. You could have had 1 game in the middle, 1 game late. No, let's go. Week 16, Week 18 for all the marbles. Rams, Seahawks, Week 18, the most must-watch game of the 2026 season.
All right, there you go. Excellent job, Tony. Top 5 from last night's schedule release. So,
Zaz, breaking news. Tony just laid it out for us there. I don't know if everybody heard, but the Bills have a tough schedule this year. Also, we knew that 5 months ago. This thing about reacting to the schedule, even though everybody already had this information, is so wild to me. I do think, though, to Tony's point, and because I'm a dip and didn't put 2 and 2 together, did the NFL schedule makers really cynically choose the Patriots because of Mike Vrabel? Is that why they're in the the debut game of the whole season?
I mean, they're going to get a lot of attention.
You don't usually get the Super Bowl rematch as the first game.
I know
I
it's
don't think that's
lame on
true.
a piece of paper that you're running. I mean, by the way, as a reminder for everybody who's like, "Oh, it's the Super Bowl." Why would you? It's the lamest idea creatively. Like, yeah, just what we just saw. Just do that again. Everybody will take that. But also, does everybody remember that game sucked? That's the start to this season. Weird.
So I want to show you a podcast that I discovered yesterday. I want to show you a clip from it. If I were to tell you, if we were doing real or fake podcasts, and I told you there's a podcast that is featuring Breonna Stewart and Miles Turner, they're the co-hosts. Would that be real or fake podcast?
What's it called?
I don't remember, actually.
That'd be a big thing because the whole thing is Mike really gives like witty names for the ones that are fake, so it could draw you
This
in.
one's ringing a bell. I think it was actually featured.
So it's real. Breonna Stewart, Miles Turner, all right? And yesterday on this podcast, they got into a conversation about, so I guess WNBA just started last weekend, and WNBA teams, coaches are starting to fine players for more and more things, which I guess makes sense because now they actually make good salaries. So in order to keep everybody in line, coaches fine you for whatever, any number of reasons. So listen here to Breonna Stewart as she then asks Miles Turner what it was like as far as the fine system in Milwaukee and what the conversation then evolves into.
We get fined for all types of stuff now. You guys get fined a lot?
It depends on the coach. So Doc Rivers, he didn't find anybody. Guys were late all the time. Guys were, showing up to film whenever they wanted to show up. Guys were missing meetings. Like, it was one of the craziest things I personally ever experienced. We literally, if the plane took off at 2 o'clock, we weren't leaving until 4:30. I'm being so serious, bro. It was crazy, dog. Guys were an hour late to the plane. It got to the point where I knew not to show up until like an hour after they said the plane was taking off. It was crazy.
So who's the teammate that's most likely to be late? Well, all of yours, obviously, because nobody gets fined.
Giannis is going to show up whenever he wants.
Okay. So let's start with the first part. And that's Doc Rivers, who apparently is letting the team run wild. All right. He's being asked this stuff because it was his first year in Milwaukee. He played the rest of his career in Indiana. Doc Rivers is now fired. Anyone surprised, I guess, that Doc Rivers allowed the inmates to run the asylum? Like I don't think anyone finds that to be any kind of revelation. But the second part, which is certainly what is garnering attention, is that Giannis would show up hours late. Several hours late. Now, this is the kind of stuff that we heard about Jimmy Butler in his last year with the Heat when he was clearly very unhappy. That Jimmy Butler was routinely hours late for the plane. But Miles Turner straight up offering up the information that Giannis behaves that way. The first thing I want to ask you, Dave, what is Miles Turner thinking in offering up that information? Like, why would Miles Turner offer that up unless he believes there's no way Giannis is on Milwaukee next year, or there's no way that he is going to be on Milwaukee next year? Because that's a weird thing to offer up for the franchise's greatest player.
I agree with you, but is it calculated to the extent that he is trying to call out Giannis to send a message, or to your point, that it is understood that Giannis is out of there, despite the fact that's the element, and we kind of have talked about this over the preceding few weeks here where Giannis is concerned, is that it's a troubling trend that he's a pain in the ass. And it's starting to, he requires, LeBron catches a lot of crap in Los Angeles for more or less insisting that his son get drafted in the second round. Giannis doesn't get, it seems to me from a distance, anywhere close to the heat that LeBron catches for requiring not one but two siblings be on the Bucks
you're
roster.
totally right. Like, I sit here and tell you LeBron's son is on the team and he does not belong in the NBA. Giannis's not brothers, plural, don't belong in the NBA. And, part of the schism between Giannis and the team late in the season, he wanted to play. He wanted to get back out on the court at the end of the season, where he ended up filing a grievance against the Bucks, was because he wanted to play.
Take a deep breath.
He
Settle down.
wanted to play with his brothers. All right, that was part of what was going on there.
You got this.
Again, I broken record from week ago or 2 weeks ago, Dave, but are you guys sure? Really meditate on this. By the way, I saw a list of the 3 preferred destinations of Giannis, and the Miami Heat were not one of them. And it makes me think, because it always hurts my feel. Well, when there's a big-time recruit in the region of football America that I come from, and I see that one of the 3 final schools for a blue-chip prospect is not Pitt, I get it hurts my feelings. Does it hurt your feelings that Giannis has not circled Miami as one of his preferred destinations? Or I'm not sure if it's even Giannis putting this list out, but they're floating all these names of appealing destinations for him, and Miami isn't one of them.
I mean, look,
it does make sense to me, except that I don't think if you're the team receiving Giannis, I feel like you get about a year for a Magic season with Giannis, not an Orlando Magic one, but a Magic run to a title. And then that's going to be about the extent of what you get out of Giannis, because he's old now. He's not going to be dynamic for much longer.
Okay, so
if he even still counts as consistently dynamic.
Okay, so the first part, does it upset me that the Heat's name was apparently not on the list? No, because while I don't expect you to remember, at the start of this past season, sitting in that chair right over there. Okay, Dan was here that day, so Dan was in this chair, and I was sitting in that chair. And I specifically said, Giannis's people have reached out to the Heat, that they are interested in Miami if things go awry in Milwaukee. So I know this, all right? So no, I don't care what that list says. I don't care what that report is. But I think the bigger thing here is because it doesn't even matter if Giannis is the star, if he's the best player on the team. When you're showing up hours late for the plane, I understand star players get treated differently, as they should. But it doesn't mean that they should be disrespectful to the rest of to your teammates. And that kind of stuff is disrespectful. And looking at things like filing a grievance against his team, all the stuff behind the scenes, the bigger question for me is Giannis a pain in the ass? Because Giannis has had a great reputation for pretty much his entire career. And I'm wondering, are we learning now maybe Giannis is a huge pain in the ass behind the scenes?
I think that he's been at the perfect organization that is so grateful to have such a transformative player. I mean, he's said in interviews he wants to be buried in Milwaukee. That is such an insular town and franchise. Not a lot of leaks. I mean, expectations aren't as high. They're not this great legacy franchise, even though they recently won an NBA title. He can do things like miss the playoffs, and you don't hear, like, what a failure. Really, the narrative is whatever Giannis wants it to be. He's been in control of the message. He's even had people in that franchise do his bidding to try to protect him here. I think he's got to realize very quickly, wherever he goes next, because it seems very unlikely that he's going to stay there, how good he had it.
And we talk about Giannis and we look at other superstars and other just like bigger than life personalities in the NBA. And everybody kind of goes to the beat of their own drum. Like you think that Jimmy Butler, you think that other LeBron, guys are making the team bend to their will. Like, yeah, I'm going to be late, an hour and a half late to the plane. Like, what's up? You going to do something about it?
I don't
or not?
think that's normal. I don't think that's a common thing. Like, yeah, stars get catered to differently, but it doesn't mean that they put out their teammates. It doesn't mean that they're disrespectful to their teammates' time. I don't think that that's a very common thing, that you have the star player behaving that way. Like, that's bad, what we're hearing there. The same way it was bad how Jimmy Butler was being disrespectful like that in his final year. And it just, like, and so Miles Turner made those comments, which I think is odd, all right? And then kind of a subtweet here. You tell me, all right? A little bit of a subtweet from Giannis Antetokounmpo where he put out now, it's on Instagram it looks like, where he was playing basketball, he was in the gym with his son, and the caption underneath it is he just writes, "Getting better every day and minding your business." And he put that out shortly after that podcast dropped with Miles Turner. Kind of feels like he might be referencing what Miles Turner said there. I think it's a little bit of a subtweet going on there from Giannis. But this, I think this is a guy who might be a little bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, are you souring on him totally since the whole midseason trade drama, striking out? I'm of the
because that kind of behavior doesn't work here in Miami.
No, well, it has. You do make some concessions. I mean, to a degree, they both bent, right? LeBron and the Miami Heat when LeBron came here a little bit, but they were rigid at first. Famously with Shaq, no, you're going to talk to the media. But, as the times have changed, players have been a little bit more empowered. I'm curious, though, where are you on Giannis?
So the behavior stuff doesn't bother me as much as he's 32 years old. He's 32 years old, and he's coming off of, a season that he hardly played because of injury. And I'm not 100% sure if adding Giannis, forget just, does it make them a contender? You see what Oklahoma City and San Antonio are doing, and it's almost like, all right, does adding Giannis get us close to those teams? All right, if it doesn't, do we trade everything? Do we trade all of our assets right now when it might not even matter? Overall, I think the Heat are going to be all in on Giannis, and certainly they'll be better if they acquire Giannis, but my hesitation comes from his age and his injury more so than this.
I mean, you're used to this franchise acquiring players that you didn't like, right? I always hated Kyle Lowry, and I didn't really keep it secret, and I just had to roll with the punches, but I held him to a very
I didn't dislike Kyle
standard.
Lowry before he got here. I disliked him very much when he was here, and I was also very loud about it. I've never disliked a Miami Heat player more than Kyle Lowry.
Even Jimmy Butler? I didn't like Jimmy Butler when he got here.
No, I was fine with that. Yeah, I don't think the Heat have ever actually the closest I was to the Heat acquiring a player who I've been very openly against was Kevin Durant. That'd have been interesting. All the things that I've said about Kevin
You were
Durant.
a Terry Rozier guy?
No, he wasn't really on my radar. What? I didn't actively dislike Terry Rozier. Who cares?
Garbage player.
When you talk about OKC and the Spurs on the other side of the bracket, I feel like that's aiming a little bit too high. And I don't want to say that it's NBA championship or bust, and I get that. But we've seen so many teams get injured on the way to an NBA title. Like Luka's Mavs were just a shell of a team that were getting there. And then obviously Boston ran through them. So when you look at Giannis acquiring him and getting him to the East, obviously you're taking from Milwaukee and adding to your team. But you're trying to beat the likes of Detroit, Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, those are the teams that you need to make sure that you're better than, because you can always have the puncher's chance in the finals. Wemby gets hurt, Shea gets hurt, Chet gets something happens on that other side. A dark horse comes through, you have an opportunity to win a title.
This kind of stuff doesn't bother me as far as Giannis's behavior. If the Heat were to acquire him, the part that I find interesting is maybe is Giannis a little bit of a phony? That's the part that kind of gets to me. Yeah, I didn't think that.
Really? I think this season kind of he's Dwight Howard redux. He's
it feels a little bit
the
like
same
that.
Kind of corny humor, the same kind of half measures.
He might be a little phony.
Everybody likes him. He gives off Dwight.
Also LeBron vibes, right? Of just I want to say the thing, whatever I think the people want to hear that will make them be into me.
I don't like that.
It doesn't it money exaggerates what you're predisposed to do, so they say. They say that about Larry David specifically, that money hasn't changed him. It's just as intensified.
Is that what they say?
I've heard. I remember seeing Jerry Seinfeld say that before I really knew about Larry David or had experienced him on camera himself. That Larry David proves that point, that money doesn't change you; it just exaggerates what you are. And maybe that's what's happened with Giannis. And I am intrigued to hear your thoughts on who there in that studio with you would be most likely to spin off if you started throwing a lot of money and saying,
who would change the most?
Who the most? Yeah, who the most? Who would get out of bounds the quickest?
Probably
if you
Roy.
just said,
what?
Here are the keys. Here are the keys to the organization, basically. That's what happened with Giannis, and all right, he got corrupted. This happens all the time to people. It shouldn't be surprising, I guess, but, Zaz, you're right, too. Tony, by the way, made a good point, too, that I think you do have to consider, if you want to contend this next season, robbing Peter to pay yourself is the plan, right? If Giannis goes to the Knicks or
Boston
stays or Philly or whatever, that really puts you out of contention, period, right? If you're the Heat, but if you get him, you can at least indulge the fantasy that maybe this will be your year.
It would
Maybe
be a
he'll come out of
huge
the
blow.
East.
Look, the Heat fans upset as it is. It'd be a major blow if not only do they not get Giannis, but he goes to Boston. That would be
But also,
a heavy blow.
But we're in an interesting inflection point in spectator sports. Russell Westbrook, I float his name for the last 5 years because I remember saying 5 years ago, how much meat does he have left on the bone? His entire game is dependent on attacking the rim and giving his physique. He's breaking down already. He's not going to make it much longer. And here we are. He's kind of sort of still relevant. And then there's Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl in his 40s and Sidney Crosby playing well deep into his 30s and so on and so forth. So are we optimistic that Giannis is going to remain dynamic into his mid-30s? Or is he about to go the path of most athletes that we've watched in history, which is they start to break down and slow down as they get into their 30s?
I think ultimately everything we've seen over the last few months and Miles Turner's comments yesterday, there's no way Giannis is on this team past the draft. There's no way.
Zero shot.
There's no way.
Yeah, the Haslam comments were pretty damning. But to echo Dave's point, a little
he means
bit.
Jimmy Haslam, by the way, not Udonis.
Yeah, not UD. But I do think, while I agree with you, and there are holes in his game, right? He's not a consistent shooter from mid-range or certainly outside or the free throw line. And he has this frame where you put a body to him, you're rewarded to get him to the line. Yeah. I still think as he gets older, he's a Greek freak for a reason. Defensively, he's going to be a force as long as he's able to step out onto the court. He's going to be able to be dangerous around the cup. Like he is going to be a big-time factor in next season, provided that he's healthy. I don't think he's going to fall all the way off, but there are questions about his game.
Taking a victory lap around the Detroit Pistons because guess what? Kate Cunningham can't do it by himself. Can we get him a Robin, Juju?
We can get him a Robin, and we can also get an AP soon. I don't know if you heard $300, but flopping is at an all-time high right now, and I blame the players and the damn refs. Caitlin, I'm looking at you.
Lock in. We went off in the full episode.
Man, this full conversation was one for the books, bruh.
On today's Mystery Crate, Tony is moving, and me and Zaz try to talk him out of it.
What is that?
No, you can't talk me out of it. I need help, and you guys won't help me. That's the
41 years old, Tony. I'm 41 years old. My back cannot help.
Okay, Zaz says just pay for somebody else to do it. And I was like,
I gave you a formula to save $10,000.
Oh, wow.
You did give me a formula to save a lot of money that I would not be spending anyway because I'm not gonna have that.
Why don't we crowdfund your move?
But it's too late. It's too late. Like, I got to do it now. I got to do it Saturday. I got to do it tomorrow.
I can't help you.
You would have said yes to that, huh?
I would have said yes to any sort of help. I'm going to try to see who else I can get to help me.
We
None of
also
you guys want to help me.
We also plant the seeds for a little bowling competition between Rose and Chris Cody.
Yeah, but there has to be like some stakes. Like
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Cody can't play full out. Like,
Actual
he's got to play
stakes.
like lefty.
What
or
if,
something.
what if he
Ribeye.
can play with his left?
Yeah, what if you
T-bone.
play with your left?
I'll beat her with my
Still with your left? How about
Yeah.
Rose has bumpers and you bowl your left?
No, that'll get close.
That'll get.
Okay, now we're talking. Okay. Chris lefty.
She may actually beat me there.
Wow.
I mean, lefty without bumpers and she gets bumpers.
I mean, I beat you lefty when we did the shooting competition.
Check it out, Mystery Crate. This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings.
Oh my God.
The crown is yours.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, there we go. Where's Dave? Where did Damashek
This is what he
go?
does during the breaks.
What? Wait, he's there? Okay.
It's my new character. It's It's the anonymous witness. I can't reveal who I am.
You'd
to
be a
anybody,
terrible
'cause it
one.
could imperil me.
Okay,
It
for
could
the
imperil me.
audio
You don't
audience-
even know who's talking right now. You don't know who's talking right now. It could be anybody.
For the
I'm in the
audio
shadows.
audience, it's pitch black in Dave's screen. Why is it completely dark?
Well, I'm here to talk for Dave. So this is how I would disguise my voice so that you wouldn't be able to recognize
good
me.
disguise.
Wait. It was me the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
was
give
me
it
the
up
whole
for
time.
Dave. Wow.
Very good.
Why is
I
your
can
room
do
dark?
that though. See, because it gets very hot in here. It gets 200 degrees in here. So I turn the light off to chill things out for a few minutes while we're in break there.
all right.
But now, Dave went away. You don't know if Dave's here or not anymore. It could be a completely different.
Wait,
human
who's
being
talking? Who is
inhabiting this? Right. Exactly.
Even if you disguise Dave's voice, you'd be able to tell it were him, like right away. Anytime a modulated voice goes, "What's a poop, fella?" Like it doesn't matter how you modulate it.
We park our cars in the
what's
same
up,
garage.
Ooh la and la. Am I right? Pittsburgh Steelers. Blah, 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 blah. Mario Lemieux. Who gives a crap? Hey, quickly, can I say this?
Quickly.
Is because Zaslow's backwards hat reminds me, is the Steelers are playing the Saints in Paris, and that made me obviously think of a beret. And then I was thinking of, is a beret the worst choice of hat you could make in the year of the Lord 2026? And I know that the easy answer is, well, you'd rather wear a beret than an Abe Lincoln hat. But if you went to a hat store, they're not selling Abe Lincoln hats in 2026, but you probably could find a beret. Is that the bottom of the barrel when it comes to hats? Zaslow, as a hat wearer, how say you?
Well, what about like those Kangol hats? You know,
Totally different thing. A beret is not a Kangol. Kangol is not a beret. Black unks, grandfathers of all kinds, Bruce Arians would not be caught dead wearing a beret.
Okay, so but those guys, what did you say? Black unks? Is that what
Yeah, that's what he said. Yes.
The black unks are still wearing Kangol.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Samuel
with the leather
Jackson.
sandals too, with the towel right over the shoulder on the grill.
Yeah.
But wait, Sam Jackson wears his backwards, right? Or some of his characters.
He only wore it in
wear the
Jackie
Kangol
Brown.
backwards.
It was one movie.
He was on a golf
you're
course.
right.
He wears it all the time.
But then
That's his look.
or Payne Stewart or Ben Hogan or somebody, like, you swing it around. And, you know, I don't think I could pull that look off, but I think Zaslow, you would look neat in that. I think, in fact, I would rather, if I had to choose a hat for you, if I were your friend trying to put you in a good spot here, I would say wear the Kangol for the rest of life if the only other choice was a beret. I think we would point and laugh at you much more in the beret.
Well, I would never wear a beret. I mean, two things that everybody knows about me. I'm not a cuck, and I would never wear a beret. Everybody knows that. But when
a cuck in a beret, now we're really talking.
Now I know three things about you. Because you hate Bill Goldberg, too.
Oh, everybody knows that about me. Two things everybody knows about me. I'm never a cuck, and I hate Bill Goldberg. Everybody knows that. I used to have a Miami Heat Kangol when I was a teenager.
Really?
Yeah.
Front or back? Like, how would you wear it?
The logo would be in the back, so I would wear the brim I'd wear it backwards. The brim would be in the back, and I'd wear, the logo in the front. Yeah, I had a Miami Heat Kangol. Whatever.
That's his thing. He has to wear it backwards. Right?
Yeah, whatever, man. So, I had a great head of hair. You wouldn't I wasn't walking around with the dome, big head when I was a teenager. I had a great head of hair.
What happened?
Life. I mean, honestly, what happened? I did morning radio for 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happened.
But the old man's got a good lettuce, or nah?
No.
Tell us about the time you went bald, Zaslow.
It didn't happen just one day. It was over a course, Probably started happening in my early 30s. Yeah, probably early 30s.
Man, I knew you at 23. It happened before then.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
All right.
You're always the last to know.
All right. There you go. But, man, Dave, you wouldn't believe it. Oh, my God. This punum and that head of hair, fighting the ladies off with a stick. You know what I'm talking about?
Devastating. I mean, listen, I know I'm doing all right in the hair department, but,
Yeah.
man, if I had the mane that I was sporting back in my mid-20s, I would be a senator by now.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, nobody's perfect. So, what is this I hear about Drake dropping a new album last night? And the reason I bring this up, because I don't care about Drake. It's not the kind of music I listen to. I don't understand how music is these days, where and seems to be like solely a hip hop thing, right? Or maybe Taylor Swift does this too. But the album will just drop out of nowhere. Oh my God, Drake has a new album. What happened to the days that there was an on sale date that the album is coming out, and you hype it up for 3-4 months? You got a single that comes out on the radio this week, another single comes out next week, and then eventually you can buy the entire album. Now we just drop albums without any promotion? That's weird.
Well, no, Drake has had a long runway of Iceman. He's had multiple promotions, from Toronto Raptors freezing his seats to having, 80 tons of ice blocked in Toronto's main street over there, putting the date of the Iceman drop inside the blocks of ice, so people had to go and dig in and wait till it melted.
Is that what the album's called?
May 15th, Iceman is what it's called.
Yeah,
May 15th is when we got it, and that was about a couple weeks ago.
I think it's little tease. That's what you get nowadays. Little teases, little hints.
You also get the surprise drop out of nowhere, and Drake did both.
Or two.
Yeah, Drake did both big time because he promoted Iceman, and the surprise this time was there were 2 more full-length albums.
Yeah. So one is dubbed to be like an R&B slower music Drake. One is his rap, which is Iceman, and then there's another one which is kind of more like club mix DJ, kind of like Honestly Nevermind was that he did with Black Coffee, which as it ages,
That's Nirvana. Nevermind.
I actually very much, huh?
Nevermind. That's Nirvana.
Honestly Nevermind though.
Oh, all right. So he dropped 3
Kendrick
albums.
Lamar. Can we go back very?
We're going to talk about a
quickly,
5'2" liar? Is that what we're going to do, Dave Damashek, on the day that Drake drops Iceman? We're going to talk about a 5'2"
Let
liar?
my man cook on Kendrick. Go ahead, Dave.
No, that's what I was going to ask. I thought that Drake, at last check for me, I thought Drake had been shamed out of society by Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
and
no.
here he is. But then my wife told me, no. Drake has emerged victorious somehow. I do the math for me on that one. Who can
Is that
explain?
true?
Yes, absolutely. Drake,
Absolutely?
absolutely, without a doubt, without a singular doubt.
I thought
Drake,
Kendrick Lamar ended his career.
please, are you? That's how I know you're not listening to Drake or listening to hip hop whatsoever. Because Drake has like
That's how you know?
four other #1 songs since GNX dropped, since the whole thing with Not Like Us, since all that stuff. Drake has been the #1 streamed artist in hip hop still. After that,
I mean, people say Kendrick won the beef of their song versus songs, but in terms of just popularity,
Drake won.
Like Drake's, it's not even close.
Is that true, Mike
Aren't
Ryan?
you a
Drake
cuck
is that
to
much
be
bigger?
lighting Drake? You're not a cuck to be rooting for Drake, who you got humiliated?
I think you are. So, yes, Drake is more popular on streaming because white girls love Drake. But if you like artistry, if you like just the music, I don't look at Drake the same way. And I go to Drake concerts. I like Drake. Like Kendrick says, I like to dance to his music too. Like, it's fine, but I will never look at him the same way. That guy took a bad public L, as bad as you can get.
I can't get over. I can't imagine that I wake up one morning and all of a sudden Pearl Jam dropped a new album last night out of nowhere. That'd be crazy to me. And I understand you're saying that's not exactly what Drake did, although you thought he was coming out with just one album. He came out with 3. But this happens all the time in music now, right? Especially in hip-hop, where it's just a surprise. Oh, my God. So has anyone listened to the new...
Iceman, I'm halfway through. I was listening on the way in. Bangers. A lot of good songs, a lot of good lyrics.
Shebang.
And obviously he had some stuff that he had already released prior to What Did I Miss? The one with Central C. So there's a couple out there that have already been listened to, but... Great bars in the song so far. I haven't listened to the other 2 albums that were the surprise drops, but I'll get around to it.
Dave, you'll get around to it?
No, probably not. I do think the old lady will put it on the Alexa, and then we'll. I have to keep it down because the Alexa's right over there, and she'll hear me talking about her, and she'll start talking and chime into the conversation. We don't want that. But yeah, I do think. I bet you that the wife and Alexa will team up to play some Drake, and I'll hear whether I want to or not. But do I have interest in it? I think is the spirit of your question. No, I do not have any interest in it.
Does it surprise you when last night was weird? There was no NBA last night. Does it surprise you when I say that if the Cavaliers beat the Pistons tonight in Game 6, that it'll be the first time without LeBron James that they advance to an Eastern Conference final since 1992? That's 34 years ago. They have not been in the Eastern Conference final without LeBron James since 1992. When I say that, does that surprise you?
Is that the Jordan shot over Elo?
No, that was the first round, and that was maybe like 80, 88 maybe. Okay. Yeah, that was a first round game.
88, Zaz.
Yeah, and that was a first round game. But 1992, Mark Price, Brad Doherty, Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Bulls won. I think the Bulls won that series in 6. It was actually the first year the Miami Heat made the playoffs. Bulls swept them in the first round. It was not a good series. But Game 3 was fun. I mean, it was only a 5-point Bulls victory. Anyway, the last time that the Cavs were in the Eastern Final without LeBron James, 1992. So I guess it's a roundabout way of saying this is kind of a big deal, this game tonight for the Cavaliers.
It is, and look, Miami, a lot of Heat fans prided themselves on their ability to rebuild themselves so quickly, get back to an NBA Finals so quickly after losing LeBron. But since LeBron left Cleveland, Cleveland's learned to be a super aggressive franchise in the trade market. They outbid everybody for Donovan Mitchell. This James Harden move was kind of inspired.
Jared Allen as well.
Jared Allen as well. Like, they have a nice roster, and they're not afraid to make big, bold moves with their head coach either. I think that they've actually stabilized as a franchise here lately, kind of taking other teams' lunch money.
Not only that, it shows the win of getting a Donovan Mitchell. It makes the trade like vindicated. James Harden, the same thing. Like all of these things are pushing forward. It's like, all right, we won, right? Like even if we don't win the Eastern Conference, even if we don't make it to the NBA Finals, you've laid the groundwork for the moves that we've been making as a front office are working.
You see, the league's last 2 minutes report came out yesterday and confirmed Tony Brothers saying after Game 5 that it was incidental contact. The league confirmed the no call at the end of regulation, which I'm surprised to see. I thought it was definitely a foul. Glad they didn't call it, but thought it was a foul. But I'll tell you, if I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, I'm glad that the league's last 2 minute report confirmed that it was a correct no call, because the only thing worse than not getting the call in that spot is when the last 2 minute report comes out and tells you, yeah, we missed it, you should have won, but tough shit, there's nothing we could do. Like, even if I don't agree with the call and don't agree with the last 2 minute report, I'm glad that the last 2 minute report is saying, no, we got it right. Because what the hell are you going to do about it, you know?
The exact opposite effect that was intended a decade or so ago when they started going to Mike Pereira and all those guys in the booth to sort of explain to the public what the officials thought is the exact opposite result of what they wanted. They wanted it to make us feel at home watching on TV exactly what you're describing. See, it was validated by another voice, an official voice there. And instead they're like, yeah, I don't think I agree with that one. It just made us much crazier about what the old men calling things with their eyeballs are doing when we can see in high-def television everybody in the world except those guys. The irony that everybody watching the game sees the truth, but we don't want to hurt the feelings of the official, so we just have to roll with their call is such an insane spot that we've arrived in. I do love that, but back to the point you're talking about with they're validated, that the Cavaliers are validated by James Harden. I don't think even the greatest Cavaliers fan thinks that this ends with them winning the title. So then what value does it have to do it? And I think that it is a canary in a coal mine of sorts for you Heat fans right now. You sure you want Giannis? Because unless it yields a title, what are you doing? And the same applies to, forgive me, I'm a provincial thinker, same goes for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers give us our best chance at 10 wins. What is that going to matter? Who cares if it doesn't yield a title run? What are you doing? You're wasting time. I feel like, in fact, one more cross-sports analogy, Brett Favre kind of took over that Vikings team when they almost went to the Super Bowl. The entire story, had they gone to the Super Bowl, would have been Brett Favre. It would have blocked out the sun of the entire Vikings thing. And the same goes for the Cavaliers. The whole thing is the redemption of James Harden or not. The Cavaliers are incidental to this story.
I think the reason that you do it if you're the Heat, and also why, if the Cavaliers win tonight, the Harden trade, even if they don't win the championship, the Harden trade ends up working for them, ends up being a positive. You want to have a shot. That's what it boils down to.
But you don't have a shot. That's my point. It's the mirage of, look how relevant we are. Look, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're one of 4 teams to make it this far, but you also know that there is a ceiling on that. It might be a high ceiling, but it's not winning the title and hoisting the O'Brien at the end of it.
But you see, that's
aren't you really
disagree.
just delaying? Aren't we delaying? I'm all about the journey over destinations, Ass. My favorite seasons in the last decade or 15 years as a sports fan, I knew during the process, this doesn't end in a title. That's not where the Cavs are, though. I suspect that Cavs fans are thinking, man, it's about time. This team is ripening. It's time for a title run, and that's just not realistically in the offing, right?
Yeah, I think we disagree in that, because I think if you get to the championship round, like let's say Cleveland wins tonight and they beat the Knicks, which I don't think is going to happen, but they get to the championship round and they're playing San Antonio or they're playing Oklahoma City, they're going to be massive underdogs. They're not going to win that series. But that's where I think my opinion there disagrees with a lot of people, which is I think if you're there, you have a shot. Like, I think if you're there, you're good enough. Like, this brings us back to, the Heat were not good enough with Jimmy Butler, and I disagree with that, because I think if you're in the finals, you're good enough. Like, the only team that's good enough to win the championship isn't just the team that won the championship. Like, they won the series, they were the better team, okay, but there are multiple teams that are good enough to win the championship. Only one of them is going to.
They were good enough in the bubble, but I thought the Denver series told them that.
I mean, they were there.
Quite
Like,
a ways
they were
away.
there.
Yeah,
they were there.
They weren't close in that series.
Yeah, I don't see it that way. I think if you're there, if you're in the finals, you have a chance to win. Like, you're right there.
In football, that's true because, as they say, and why March Madness is compelling is because for a 40-minute stretch, anything might happen. In a football game, it's plausible that anything might happen, but in a 7-game series, it's not.
Yeah, I think that the trade's going to be validated for Harden. I don't think that Detroit survives tonight. I think Cleveland winds up finishing them off. And I know you could say, hey, Detroit won a huge Game 7 last round. They came back from a 3-1 deficit. They could win this game and force a Game 7 back in Detroit, but I would quickly point out, they came back from the 3-1 deficit against Orlando, and they were down by 24 in the third quarter of Game 6, getting waxed by the Magic. They had no business surviving that series, and Orlando just couldn't score. So, as impressive it is that Detroit came back from 3-1, they were getting smoked in that Game 6.
And Detroit's options for winning this game or losing this game, right? Is it all predicated on the Cavs, right? Is it if James Harden has a bad game, then the Cavs are going to lose? Can Detroit do anything to win?
I think Cleveland can win even if Harden is not great tonight. Like, Duncan Robinson is still questionable. He may not play tonight. They get nothing out of Jalen Duren in Detroit, which, my God, I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason money-wise with him. And we saw last game, Cunningham, yes, he had a lot of turnovers, but Cunningham can still have a 39-point game, and it's not enough. And they still wind up losing. The Cavs have not lost at home yet this postseason. I think Cleveland finishes them off tonight. And then you got Spurs and Timberwolves tonight. Anthony Edwards, he was asked about going into this game and does the whole, we're not worried, everything's cool and all that. And you know what? When Anthony Edwards says it, I believe it. Anthony Edwards, to me, is one of those guys in the league who seems to be even keel no matter what. Super confident no matter what. I don't know that Minnesota wins this game tonight, but I think Minnesota has a chance of pushing it to a Game 7. I don't know how any of us are actually rooting for Minnesota because you want Wembanyama versus Oklahoma City.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Tony, please.
No, go Dave.
You guys should both keep saying go ahead to each other.
Well, no, but please, the floor is yours.
Please, go.
Lights out. A third party wants to weigh in on this one. Listen, I'm curious. Are we sure, if you're an NBA devotee, you sure you want the Spurs to win this year? Because I feel like the long night is about to begin. And maybe you want to get one more title in before Wemby fully takes over. And I think it's setting up, and we were having the conversation on Football America that you can listen to as soon as this show is over today, that the idea that, Tim Duncan was great, he won 5 titles. Yeah, but he had Manu and he had Tony Parker. Well, those guys are those guys because they were in those big spots and won titles. De'Aaron Fox will be perceived as the equivalent of those. That he'll be iconic if they do. It's not like Wemby's doing it on his own. I think that maybe is old news to a lot of people. But my point is, I think there's a decent chance that Wemby and the Spurs reel off the next 3 or 4 here, right? So don't you want to root against the Spurs? Because people hate dynasties. I don't hate dynasties. I think they're good for sports. But people who lament that same team keeps winning it and this is getting boring, well, guess what? It's about to start right now. So whoever it is, root for that team over Wemby because the dominance is, we're at the forefront of it, right?
Okay, so this is interesting, right? Because a year ago, this time, we would be saying the same thing about Oklahoma City, where it's like, wow, this is a really likable team. It's cool if they win their first championship here. I like rooting for this team.
No, don't you remember that national ad campaign, What a Pro Wants? I was so sick of this team by the second round.
That's right.
Hated them with a fiery passion.
But we did not foretell Oklahoma City being this team that everyone's like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's tough to watch. Lou Dort, dirty player. Chet Holmgren, flopper. we didn't have any of those thoughts last year. Foul merchant with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, the tide turned with them really quick. Is that going to happen with San Antonio? Because right now, you look at the Spurs team, and they're fun. And Wembanyama he's incredible to watch. But are we now going to sour on them after they win a championship?
Well, it's interesting. It's sort of rooting for the bully in a sense, and the whole elbow to the throat incident kind of proves that point. It's a recurring thing for me is to pity the bully, because when the common factor in these big collisions that you see in big-time sports, whether it's Shaq or the reason that I am so empathetic to those people is Mario Lemieux, that when you are, or Jerome Bettis, or Mark Bavaro, the Giants tight end, or Rob Gronkowski, Eric Lindros is probably the most tragic figure in this regard. When you are always the one in the collision, it takes multiple people to slow you down. Your body is the one that's going to wear out, even though you're the bigger guy. It's the weird paradox that goes on in sports. And so already you're starting to hear that with Wembanyama. I get it that he threw the elbow. He looked the guy in the eye and then threw the bow into him, and that's bad form. But on some level, you got to protect yourself if you're taking a beating like that. And I do think people are already ever so slightly starting to demonize Wemby a little bit for defending himself.
I think it could draw comparisons to, Zaz, you remember when LeBron James upset almost by himself that Pistons team?
Yeah.
And it felt like they were a year early.
He scored like 24 consecutive points for the Cavs in Game 6, yeah.
Yeah, and LeBron was awesome. Everybody was like, this is incredible. He has arrived.
Yeah.
And then quickly thereafter, he's always in the conversation, and you have this cult of personality that's beloved by seemingly half the fans and then hated by the other half of the fans. I think that's where we'll get with Wemby. Wemby has one dominant run. Everybody will be like, this is a crazy novelty, amazing. And then he enters a conversation year after year after year, and then it will seem unfair.
Here's a question for you that is pretty hyperbolic. I asked a week ago, how many titles will be satiating to the Spurs fan 15 years from now? Will 3 do it for the Wemby era? Will 4 do it? Where does Wemby finish?
Yeah, didn't we ask Michelle Beadle?
We did ask her that. She said 4, which I think is a kind of a fair answer, even though it's a pretty tall standard, even for 7'4" Wemby and his pals. But then also, Dan is among many people having the where does Jokic rank among centers, and is he the greatest scorer of all time, and all that kind of stuff. It's unfair to the kid, obviously, to some degree, but where does Wemby wind up in our mind? Like, is he a part of the enduring MJ v. LeBron conversation? Is it a 3-headed conversation 10 years from now? I think there's a decent chance, the way things are tracking, that it will be. The thing that gets in the way of it is I'm waiting for Wemby to break. That body don't look right. When he's running up and down the floor, it just doesn't seem like it can take guys taking runs at him. And the best thing he has going for him is that the era has changed in which he doesn't have to play through the low pivot anymore. Because if he did, I don't think he would have a shot. But I think as it stands now, it might be a decade from now. Who's better, MJ, LeBron, or Wemby?
A decade from now?
It took LeBron 20 years to try and be even in the same stratosphere as Michael Jordan. And Wemby's going to get there in 10?
If he wins 3 or 4 titles, that's how things go. Yeah.
So
LeBron wasn't winning titles. That's why he wasn't in the conversation.
So that's tonight. We got both those games tonight. Both those series can end tonight. Last night, though, with no NBA, we had the hockey. The Vegas Golden Knights, they advanced the Western Conference Final. They beat Anaheim and Montreal. Tony, I heard you even checked in to that Canadiens victory over the Sabres last night.
Oh, the Habs, Zaz. I turned it on with 2 minutes and 27 seconds left in the second period. I saw one goal from the Habs, and I was like, all right, I'm good. It's 5-3.
You picked the wrong stretch. There was like a 30-second stretch in which there were 3 goals in the first period.
I was watching the Equalizer 2, so I switched that on a commercial break to see what the...
There were 2 equalizers in that game, and then Montreal pulled away.
What a performance by the Canadiens. They can now close it out in a Game 6 at Bell Center tomorrow. On the other series, though, which the Knights blew out the Ducks, Mitch Marner, my goodness. Mike, did you see that first goal of the game? Easily best goal of the playoffs, easily.
I would agree. Mitch Marner this postseason is rewriting the narrative that surrounded him, and this is increasingly looking like a Toronto Maple Leaf issue and not a Mitch Marner one or William Nylander one.
Oh, which is perfect.
So, like, if Austin Matthews won out of Toronto, he's going to become, like, the best player in the league?
I guess. I'm also looking at Austin Matthews. I'm like, wait a second. You're the overrated one over there in Toronto. Because Marner, I always thought Marner's defensive prowess was so underestimated. He is a terrific two-way player. He is showing it day in, day out. He's making his line mates look incredible. They really unlock something between Marner and Carlson, too. They play brilliantly together. Watching this team, and it was a very bizarre series win. Tortorella, we are living in the United States of Tortorella. He did not make the locker room available.
Yeah, did you see that, Dave?
I did. Bizarre stuff from Tortorella, but also par for the course because he's an enduring weirdo.
I mean, it's paying off, certainly. Vegas, Zaz, how many fewer wins did they have than the Florida Panthers this season?
Vegas, like, I have a hard time accepting that Vegas is now in the Western Conference Final. Look, the Panthers missed the playoffs. The Panthers had a very disappointing season. They only won 39 games this year. The Vegas Knights won 38. Like, Vegas won fewer games than the Panthers this year. Vegas was 4 games under 500 this season.
It's pretty impressive.
Yes. Chris?
Yeah, Mike.
I'm reluctantly doing this, but I think John Tortorella and the Vegas Golden Knights,
Mitch Marner,
they deserve a toast.
They do.
They're worth a toast.
They're worth a toast. Presented by Cuervo. Keep it fun. Keep it Cuervo. Here's to Mitch Marner. Look at you guys.
Now, this sets up for a very interesting series between Colorado and Vegas. You have 2 recent Western Conference Cup winners, teams that are always in that conversation.
22 and 23.
You have Vegas playing their best hockey of the season, and where Vegas is certainly a way more interesting threat to Colorado than Anaheim would be is there's always going to be an elite defensive forward on the ice for Vegas.
Hear, hear.
I cannot wait to watch McKinnon and McCarr try to rush past that blue line and have Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner waiting for
Why
for
did you
them
say
there.
here?
Hear, hear.
Why
That's when
did you
you're
say
toasting
that?
That's when you're
someone
toasting.
and someone makes a good point.
Oh.
Someone in the background needs to yell, hear, hear.
Now, ultimately, I think Colorado's depth is just insane.
Hear, hear.
And their talent will win out. And they had a relatively easy time with Minnesota. And I do believe Minnesota to be a better team than Vegas, but styles make fights. And I think that this Vegas team playing this way with their defensive forwards and with Mitch Marner being totally unlocked. This guy was a joke. He tried a spinning goal against the Florida Panthers, and it led directly to a goal for the Florida Panthers. He was a punchline, and probably unfairly so. This could be a really interesting series.
Well, yeah, and now he leaves, and they finished, next to last in the Eastern Conference.
Keep it fun.
Vegas playing appropriately or not playing with house money here.
You think they are playing with house money? Dave, you think Vegas is playing with house money?
I mean, they have no business being there based on exactly what you just said, based on what they did in the regular season. I think the Avs should smoke them. I think Mike is exactly right. I know it's simple math, but the games were closer, maybe a 5-game series and everything else, but the Avs did ultimately handle the Wild, who are way better than the Knights. And the question I have for Drip Drill pal Mike Ryan is, what is the bigger eyesore? The Avalanche against the Golden Knights, 2 awful uniforms for 2 would-be dynasties in the NHL, or would it have been the head-to-toe orange against the Avs? I mean, that would have been so vomitous, you have to watch it in black and white or maybe just listen on the radio, right?
I think Vegas gets a bad rap. I understand. By the way, the home sweaters look way nicer in person than they do on TV.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
They're
right?
ugly.
All right.
They're
Well,
ugly. What are you
know
talking about? That's a horrible color of gold that they wear.
I think it looks nicer in person, but I think the road whites are fine. I'm with you though. This is a much better uniform matchup though than we would have gotten with the Anaheim Ducks. Anything close to red when Anaheim's going up against someone, that color clash is not easy on the eyes.
Actually, come to think of it, are the Avs, because if they win this cup, they're not dynastic, or they're kind of in that conversation. What is the worst uniform for a dynasty we've ever seen? I'm going to float 2 for you right now. The OKC Thunder. That's part of the reason, Zaslow. That's why we reject them. We don't like them because their uniforms are ugly. They're like, what's your color scheme? What colors do you want to use? All of them. We're going to take every color under the sun and put them into our uniform. That sucks. And then the other one is the Tom Brady Patriots. Pat Patriot. Oh, it should have been the uniform. Instead, we got Flying Elvis for the entirety of that run, that miserable run.
Keep it fun. Keep it Cuervo.
No hockey tonight, so we gave you a little bit of hockey there. The hockey will finish off this round possibly tomorrow. Now, there's a new episode of Mystery Crate that comes out today, all right? You're going to love it. I got old-ass stories. Chris tries to come over the top, and you have your, what is it, new-ass story?
New-ass story.
You have a new-ass
For
story.
my new-ass head.
So check that out today. New episode of Mystery Crate every Friday.
That's my gimmick.
Tony talks about moving into his new home and the moving situation, all right? So tune into Mystery Crate, and you can hear about that. Don't ever ask me to help you move. I will never do that. But how is everything coming along with the move?
We're on our way. We're about halfway done with all the stuff. I'm going to get a U-Haul truck tomorrow. I'm going to back it up in front of the house of my in-laws, drop all my stuff in there, and take it to the new house. But today, I'm going over there later today to get the internet installed with the internet service provider guy.
You know what? Let me stop you there real quick. When you move into a new home, internet service, the TV service, has to be like the first thing that gets done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember any times that I've moved, I have the TV/internet guy installing everything in the home before the furniture's even arrived. Like it's the very first, and I feel weird about that because I feel like my wife is thinking, all right, this is not even remotely as important as everything else that needs to go on. But I'm thinking to myself, like, no, this is the most important.
That's
thing.
what makes a house a home.
Right?
As I was watching the bubble playoffs from the floor.
Yeah. TV/internet installation in your new home is paramount. All right, go ahead, Tony.
So I got the couch, so I won't have to sit on the floor, but I'll sit on the couch and watch the guy do whatever he's got to do. But for this particular internet service provider, which I've had at my previous rental house, I called them up and I said, hey, do you guys have fiber in the area? They said, yep. I said, all right, perfect. I'm like, all right, we got the fiber. You know about that fiber, Dave?
I do know about that fiber.
Yep.
And I
Gotta
appreciate
have it.
Continue. Can I weigh in on what Zaslow just said there? Because I think he really hit on something important. People talk about, maintaining friendships, but they come and go. Family is deeply important. People say it's the most important thing. I'd like to amend that. My one friend, my enduring friend, who's been there through thick and thin, through all the decades of nerddom and otherwise, is television. TV is my best pal. He's always there. I can be in any remote location driving across America. If I see that motel sign past midnight and it says has HBO or has cable, I pull over and I'm right as rain. Thank you, TV.
So they hit me up with, hey, all right, so Friday's good. We'll give you a window of 2 to 5 for the guy to be there. And I'm like, 2 to 5? Like, what are we doing? He's like, yeah, it also could take 2 hours. If he's there, it could take 2 hours for him to work. I'm like, okay, so I'm sitting at the house that doesn't have internet, doesn't have TV for 5 hours?
So the window's really 2 to 7.
2 to 7 because he's going to be working on it. So now I'm sitting here and something like, all right, what are we doing with these windows of time? Why can't we make it fine? Like, all right, here it is. You got 1:30. It's going to take him 30 minutes. It's going to take him an hour, but you got 1:30. He's going to be there at 1:30. Not this time thing. Like, the windows at time is crazy.
Dude, if they give you a specific time, if they give you a specific time, they're just going to be late constantly.
Yeah, but then I can call and bitch about it. Because if they're like, all right, we'll be there from 2 to 4, but the guy shows up at 3:59, I can't bitch.
Honestly, man, a 3-hour window is like a small window. I've had ones where it's like noon to 6.
Yeah,
it's like,
not
what
that
the hell
bad.
is that? 3 hours is like a small window.
I
for
feel
what
like
I've
these
seen.
days, normally, they're coming on a specific day, and you'll get a call in the morning with the time frame.
Calls. They've called me 20 times, by the way. Do you want to change it? No, I don't want to change it. I want to keep it.
Is the TV serviceman or Giannis the bigger pain in the ass? I can't tell who has a tougher time keeping time.
Well, no, Giannis is the bigger pain in the ass because ultimately the TV service guy is going to fulfill your every wish and need.
Ah.
Right?
Take him, Miami Heat. Get the TV service guy. He's the missing.
I'll let you know his stats when he walks up if he's a big guy. Maybe.
Like, is that not a tremendous feeling when the guy, like when he says, okay, we can do this, and we can, like when he's figured out the lay of the land, all right, we can solve this.
And he tells you it's going to
here.
be shorter than the
do this
timetable, too.
here. It's a beautiful feeling when you can get done what you need to get done. I'm telling you, when you move into a new home, by far the most important thing is the TV and the internet guy. Don't come at me.
On this episode of the Alley-Oop, I'm taking a victory lap around the Detroit Pistons because guess what? Kate Cunningham can't do it by himself. Can we get him a Robin, Juju?
We can get him a Robin, and we can also get an AP soon. I don't know if you heard $300, but flopping is at an all-time high right now, and I blame the players and the damn refs. Caitlin, I'm looking at you.
Lock in. We went off in the full episode.
Man, this full conversation was one for the books, bruh.
So the basketball and the hockey is now going to be a little limited on a nightly basis now, as both of the sports are heading into their conference championships. We're not going to have multiple games every night. But there is something going on tomorrow night, in addition to the basketball and hockey, on Netflix. Mike Ryan, do you get Netflix?
I do.
Roy, you get Netflix?
I don't.
Chris, you get Netflix?
I do.
Tony, you get Netflix?
You already know.
Dave, you get Netflix?
Do.
I get Netflix too. And tomorrow night, Roy, I'll give you my password. And tomorrow night, you got the MVP card, right? And it's Ron. What are you laughing at?
The password.
Yeah, I'll give you my password.
Roy doesn't have Netflix. Is crazy.
I'll give my password. It's all right.
I the only reason I have Netflix is because they ventured into live sporting events.
Is that true?
That's the only reason. I don't like Netflix shows. They're not for me.
Do you have every streamer?
Now the last holdout. The last streaming platform that I was holding out on was Netflix. Everything else, I have to have everything because I'm a soccer fan. I cannot follow that sport without every other streamer.
Dave, do you have every streamer?
Pretty close, although we do the thing of like we like that series, and so we turn it on for a few months.
Give me the free 3 months, right? And you watch the show.
Kinda.
That's a good move.
We play that game.
Yeah.
We get a little thrifty here. I just have to say very quickly without derailing anything, my wife heard me through the wall and was very upset that I declared that she thought that Drake had won the back and forth with Kendrick Lamar. She said, "How dare you misrepresent me? You have to correct that. It's out in public." I think that Kendrick Lamar clearly won. He humiliated him, and everybody thinks he's cooler, except apparently for Tony.
I'm on the right side of history on this one.
No, you're not. That's a
I
West Coast
definitely
thing.
am.
That's a West Coast bias, though, from the Damashek household.
So, as I was saying, tomorrow night on Netflix, you got the first ever first ever MMA card, MMA live event on Netflix. The first thing I want to ask before I get into the things that I do have an opinion about as far as tomorrow night goes, is this overall, is this a good card? Is this going to be a good show?
Card's going to be fun. There's going to be a bunch of scraps on it. I think the Mike Perry-Nate Diaz fight is going to be super cool. It's going to be
Nate Diaz, every time I see him, you're looking to promote the fight, he's bored out of his mind. I mean,
he's also stoned out of his mind too. That also kind of makes things a little bit even. Yeah. Made Ariel Helwani hold the blunt the other day, and Ariel's like, I don't want to hold this.
I saw at the open practice sessions, he was just smoking a blunt and shadowboxing,
and he was trying to shadowbox the guy with the camera
while smoking a blunt.
That's Nate though, and that's why. And him and Mike Perry's going to be an electric fight. That's what I called it, a backyard scrap, two uncles fighting at a barbecue. I love that.
I love how much Nate Diaz loves his brother.
Yeah,
he thinks, and for the video team here, it's just that was the open session yesterday.
He's attacking the camera guy
while smoking a blunt. It's
a joint.
Oh, he's trying to take down the camera guy now.
It's definitely a joint.
I love how much he loves his brother. He claims his brother is the greatest MMA fighter of all time, right?
Yeah,
which is obviously a ridiculous thing to say.
But again, you got to step up for your bro. Keep it 10 toes down.
I like how tight they are. So go ahead.
No, so that fight's going to be fun. The return of Francis Ngannou after all the stuff that he's been through between leaving the UFC, between personal tragedy, between the boxing, and now coming back. It'll be cool to see Francis Ngannou back into the octagon one more time. I don't know what his future looks like as far as where he's going to be fighting with PFL or with another MVP card. But that guy, when he steps into the octagon, it's like, oh my God, anything can happen. He's literally the hardest puncher that we've ever seen in modern heavyweight history.
But the headliner is absolutely Rousey and Carano.
For sure. It's been deemed the headliner for the card. You can watch us on YouTube at 8 p.m. MMA Hangouts presented by Netflix for this card. So we'll be watching from 8 p.m. through the end of the fights, which will be fun.
Tony, this is the first time that you've done an MMA hangout for a non-UFC event?
Non-UFC event, yep.
Oh, cool.
Exactly. So it'll be the first one, and what a better one to do it on Netflix with a very fun card. I'm interested to see how the Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey fight goes because, like we talked about, both women have been out of the sport for a decade and almost 2 decades. They're looking good. They look fit. They look slim. They look like they're ready for a fight.
Tony, they look like models out there.
I know.
Yeah. This is a very different camp than they're used to.
It's I don't know if strange is the right word. I don't know if you saw, Dave, but they came out, they're doing the poses and everything, and the two of them come out. They look like models. They are in unbelievable shape, and they're They're wearing these sexy dresses. They're wearing dresses for
shifting the paradigm a little bit. I kind of like their approach to it. Ronda has been, pretty out there with some quotes in the lead up to this fight. She's not pulling punches there. For both fighters, I don't think I can remember a fight where they came in this light.
Yeah, and usually what you're doing, you're bulking during the camp, and then you cut to try and make weight and everything. And it feels like they're kind of hovering where they don't really have to cut weight. And that's one thing that's super important in at least the UFC when you're going up and you're probably a weight level above where you're actually fighting. So you got to cut a bunch of weight to make your weight. Right now, it doesn't look like there's any weight cut happening whatsoever for anybody.
Rousey looks the slimmest, slimmest, fittest, however you want to put it, that I've ever seen. And Gina Carano, who has not fought in 17 years, all right?
That's crazy.
I would have to guess that there's never been a mixed martial arts fight with someone who has gone 17 years between fights.
I remember there was a card at the LA Coliseum. It was Brock Lesnar's first ever MMA fight, and I ordered the pay-per-view because I was curious to watch Brock Lesnar fight. And Royce Gracie was on that card, and he was fighting a professional fight. So I'll look it up. This may not be as unprecedented as you think.
Well, Gina Carano, go ahead, Dave.
I'm just curious about what you mentioned. So promotionally, they're trying to sort of sex them up, is basically what you're saying.
Well, no, we're not
putting
trying
them
to
in
say
dresses
that.
And everything.
We're not trying to say that.
Yeah, no,
we're actively trying to not say that.
Yeah, we're not trying to say that.
We're trying to be as careful as we can to not say that.
And
well, you just said they came out in dresses and put them out. I mean, if that's what they're doing,
no, that's exactly
doing, right?
what we said. Yeah, that's exactly what we said. But we didn't say what you're alleging we said, because we tried to not.
I got you.
Yes,
So
I'm not gonna hop on this
microphone
and be accused of objectifying anybody, unless it's a man.
They're not gonna league of their own it. You guys can fight, but you have to wear dresses while you do it.
These two ladies are definitely in a league of their own when it comes to the promotion of this fight. It's not something that we're used to.
Yeah,
and I think that's by design, and I think it's effective.
I would say you're probably right. It's probably completely by design because I've never seen anything like that before.
Ladies are fighting at 145, so women's featherweight division, so probably not having to cut a ton of weight because they're probably both around that mark.
Well, and Gina Carano, I don't remember what she looked like when she was fighting, but I know what she's an actress too, and I know what she looked like when she was in Deadpool.
But we don't want to have that conversation.
I think she won that
She'll be
lawsuit.
back.
I remember what she looked like in Deadpool, and she was, she looked
strong, yeah.
Gladiator strong.
Yeah, and she does not look like that now. I'm interested in the fight. I'm always interested every time Ronda Rousey fights, and I am going in with incredibly low expectations. I think it's going to be a total shit show.
Really? I think this card's going to play out. I'm pumped.
I'm saying that fight, not the card.
Okay, possibly. I don't know where their cardio is, and these were two bigger fighters, so it's probably, when your main concern is the cardio, it's probably a wise choice that they've cut so much weight for this fight. But I think this is going to go better than the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson circus, which had an entertainment value. Netflix seems to do interesting things with their combat sports broadcast, so I'm curious to see how MMA is separated from that. By the way, while we're on the topic of Netflix, I don't know if you guys got into it when I was away, but have you seen the Jake Paul news?
He might not fight again.
Jake Paul, I think I want to give Jake Paul a lot of credit because everybody's fear about this fight was look, if this is on the up and up, Jake Paul can die in this fight. And while there are certain portions of the internet that think this is overstated because it's setting up a narrative about a comeback fight or whatever, his jaw got destroyed. And that's a big deal for a fighter. He might, in taking that fight and in being brave enough to take it, he might have legitimately ended his boxing career, such that it was. Now, maybe he goes back and is a little bit wiser about choosing his opponents. I'm sure that's fine. Curious to see if he shows up to this event because he's apparently been blackballed from the UFC events because having rival.
This is his deal.
MVP is his deal.
He actually volunteered that he can't even watch his brother compete in the WWE because of the parent company.
Really?
Because that's bad blood right there. And
So
it's
he's
not just
blackballed
Jake.
because he's a competing promotion?
Yes, and
Probably other things too.
Yeah, I mean, he takes shots at Dana specifically. He has one of the former UFC high-ranking employees matchmaking over there. So there's a lot of bad blood there. I kind of get it. But I do think that Jake Paul, and this may surprise some in the audience, I want to give him credit for taking that fight because he legit got rocked. He legit might have ended his career in doing so.
Well, yeah, like wouldn't one of the things that someone would have said going into the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight was, if you take this fight, this guy will end your career. And that's literally
played out.
What might be happening.
It played out. It wasn't just fight hype. It was legit. Jake Paul risked life and limb and his career. He may never fight again.
Isn't that good? Ultimately, for the sport of boxing, legitimately, doesn't that? I think not for Jake Paul. I understand it's not, but ultimately, it is kind of good for the showman, Jake Paul. Obviously, he's a self-promoter, and that's why he got into the ring and the reason he took his risk. But in the same way, I feel like in-game interviews of players diminish the drama. Like, what are we doing here? I thought that this is way too intense. They're singularly focused on the task at hand. Now they're playing grab ass with a sideline reporter while the game's going on. It diminishes that. I think Jake Paul surviving in the ring is bad for boxing. What you want to say is, see what happens.
Oh,
you see what happens. You think you can mess around and get in here with us? You can't compete with us. You want the vibe of like, man, these guys are different.
Put me down for 2 non-meager defenses of Jake Paul. I think competition is great. I think it's great for all combat sports.
I like the Paul brothers. I'll just say it. I like them.
Look, they've done some good things with their cards. They've given fighters opportunities, especially in women's combat sports.
Yep.
I don't think it's a bad thing to try to break up UFC's monopoly of combat sports, especially when it comes to the labor rights of the people actually doing the fighting.
They're very, very pro-fighter.
Yeah.
Very.
And you can say a lot of things about Jake Paul. I do think he knows the world of boxing. I do think he knows and picks the right boxers to put a spotlight on that aren't getting a fair shot. Ultimately, you can have whatever issue you have with the circus headline attraction. And I get that. I get all of that. Trust me. But he brings people into the tent. And the circus is not just Jake Paul. There are reputable fighters there that are itching for a chance, that have become stars, that have made money because of Jake Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Paul brothers. Everything you just said about Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Look, everybody knows at this point, I'm a huge pro wrestling guy, and Logan Paul is a fantastic professional wrestler. He's really good at it, Dave.
I also think if you're an MMA fan and you want it to become bigger than it already is, I think you do want somebody to emerge to sort of push back at Dana White. I mean, Dana White, whether he wants it to go this way or not, is he's steering it hard into a certain demographic, or maybe he's just acknowledging the fact that it never is going to be mainstream, that it belongs to that demographic. And maybe in that way, as commissioner of this sport, I always think about like Gary Bettman. They want hockey to make it in the Sun Belt, and it's been fits and starts for 20 years, and you guys have benefited from it ultimately. But man, it seemed for long stretches there, like, are you sure you want to try to mainstream this sport? It might just be better off as a fringy provincial sport, Canada and colder places. But if you want MMA to get bigger, not smaller, then I think you do want the Paul brothers involved with it, because Dana White is, like I say, intentionally or otherwise steering it in a direction where only a sliver of the population is going to care about it.
Yesterday, I had the controversial remarks that I like watching people fight for money. Yeah. I'm going to maintain that take. Wow. But also, without this card, I'd not be watching MMA. I haven't been watching the UFC as much lately, and it's because of the star power kind of lacking a little bit and maybe some other things. But in this card, I'm getting a dream fight. Yeah, maybe it's 15 years too late, but it's a fight that every mixed martial arts fan wanted to see. I'm getting a backyard barbecue fight between two guys that are going to come out swinging, and I'm getting the return of the heaviest punching heavyweight, the most menacing heavyweight that we've seen maybe ever. I mean, Brock Lesnar was pretty scary, but Ngannou is got the bona fides, got the punching power, and he is returning to mixed martial arts, returning to the octagon. I think that is a huge deal for mixed martial arts, and this could be the seed of something that finally challenges. Look, we've well chronicled the challenges that are facing the UFC and their attempts to try to be something for everybody. Netflix is starting from scratch here. They can actually achieve that.
Look, it's been 10 years since Rousey fought. Most of Rousey's fights, which, by the way, she only fought 8 times in UFC. Now, she was in another promotion before UFC, but it's not like she had this long, huge UFC career. She was 6-2, losing her last 2 fights, and then she, was a huge sore loser, and she left, and she refuses to talk about it. And essentially the same thing happened with WWE, where she was like a huge sore loser. She doesn't like the way things went, and she left, and she doesn't want to talk about it.
She doesn't leave places well. And
she burns bridges.
There's plenty of bad things that you could say about Ronda Rousey, but, it's combat sports. You check a lot of that at the door, unfortunately.
Well, so some of the bad things that she said, she's been really critical in this lead up to this fight of UFC. But, critical of TKO's UFC, because TKO was not the parent company yet when she was fighting for them. So she's been extremely critical of UFC. And Khamzat Chimaev, who just recently lost to Sean Strickland last weekend, I guess decided to respond to some of Rousey's comments, calling her ungrateful toward UFC. And so here's Ronda Rousey now coming back at Khamzat.
I asked you on Monday how you felt about some critics out there who are hearing you talk about fighter pay, hearing you talk about the sport, about the UFC. Fighters like Khamzat Chimaev, who was on camera criticizing, saying that you're essentially biting the hand that fed you back in the day, that you're coming across as ungrateful for everything that they did for you. What is your response to those people?
Well, I would want to make something abundantly clear, and that's that I owe Dana and the Fertittas immensely. And I would be caught dead before you ever heard me say a bad thing about any of them. But my loyalty is to them and not the company they sold. And I do not owe TKO's UFC a damn thing. And fucking Cleft Lip Lincoln is just hating because at his press conference for his fight, people are asking about me and my fight because no one gives a shit about his ineffectual wrestle fests. And people are they can't stop talking about this fight because it's so stacked, and they're actually excited to see me fight because unlike Kumquat, I have 100% finish rate.
Unlike Kumquat. Is that true, Tony? Are they inefficient wrestle fuckfests?
I mean, look. Cleft lipped Lincoln.
Can you explain that one for me?
Yeah, so Khamzat Chimaev has a cleft lip that they fixed, so he's got a bit of a scar here.
Come on.
And he also has the Dagestani, Chechenian, Muslim, Russian beard that has just the beard with no mustache.
She got that Netflix writing, no doubt.
Yeah. They probably slid that one to her. They were like, here, if you ever talk about Khamzat, read this one.
It's a bar.
But it's not ineffectual. He was one of the highest prospects and one of the best fighters until this past weekend where Sean dominated him. But that's the fight game, right? You step into the octagon, you close the doors, and anything can happen. She does have 100% finish rate because she also got finished.
That's right. Even in her losses, she has 100% finish rate. So I'm into it. I'm going to watch tomorrow night. That's on Netflix. But also make sure you tune into Tony. Say it again, Tony.
8 p.m. on the Le Batard Show YouTube channel, presented by Netflix. MMA Hangout will be hanging out 8 p.m. to the end of the card. So we'll give you a nice little pregame show. The card starts at 9. We'll start at 8, getting everything ready.
Here. So, why are you doing that again? So here is something that we've been talking about for really the last week, and that's the Waymos and
I love this.
The driverless cars.
5 to
which
10 years.
Tony believes within 5 years we will not be driving as human beings anymore. It's going to be driverless cars, which is crazy. But I saw, before we get to the video that Chris saw yesterday, I saw a video a few days ago. I think it was in Dallas. I saw a video a few days ago where it was caught on camera, a Waymo just completely blowing the stoplight at a busy intersection, making a left into oncoming traffic. And it's like, that's scary.
Are you hopping out if you're in that Waymo?
I'm hopping out while it's moving. I got to get out of here. It's making a left at an intersection into oncoming traffic. It just straight up blows the stop sign. And apparently, like the Waymo customer service said, the light on the stoplight, the way the sun was reflecting off it was very confusing what color the light was. Okay, well, that can't be the excuse when I'm in an 8-car pileup because there's no driver in this car. Go ahead, Chris.
This is a news report from Atlanta where a neighborhood has just been bombarded with, in the morning, like between 7 and 8, they just like Waymos without passengers in it. It's almost
Has
like
this been happening on multiple days, or is this just one day?
multiple days where it just seems like this is where the Waymos are hanging out in between gigs, apparently. So here's the news report. It explains it all, but Atlanta people, this neighborhood, not happy with Waymo.
Waymo after Waymo after Waymo enter this dead-end street, usually early in the morning.
I think yesterday morning we had 50 cars that came through between 6 and 7.
Neighbors on Battleview Drive started seeing the autonomous, driverless cars 2 months ago, but the groupings and large number of Waymos just started circling in and out in the last couple weeks. They even shared video with us when neighbors used this little guy to put him right out here in the street to block the Waymos from getting into the cul-de-sac, and you can imagine what happened next.
And we had at one point 8 Waymos that were stuck trying to figure out how to turn around.
The Waymos are empty and not picking anyone up, and parents are worried, not only calling it excessive, but dangerous.
So they put these little kids are playing
creepy,
signs
man.
in the middle of the street, and it caused this like backup of just, if you weren't watching us,
There's 10
like
cars
10
there.
Waymos, they can't reverse, so it just
They're trying to do 7-point turns to try and get out of the road.
But I like this neighborhood taking it in their own hands of like, no, this is not your just little drive around area.
Now, why before they put the cones there, which then created essentially a traffic jam, why were the Waymos all being directed to this cul-de-sac?
I don't think it's explained why this was the area. Maybe they're near an airport where they have all these Waymos that are available to pick people up. Where do you go when you don't have a call? Do you just go and park somewhere? No. In Atlanta, apparently they just go to this neighborhood and circle around.
That's creepy to me, man.
Whether or not Tony is correct about where we're headed in 5 years or in 20 years, what is the advantage in 2026 of putting yourself into one of those cars? I'm sorry to be like one of those people who's like, let's burn the Waymos at the stake like they're a witch, but why are you putting yourself into the experiment right now? It's sort of like the people who want credit for like, look, I'll eat the hottest wing that they got in the shop. Look, I ate the hot wing, and everybody's like, who gives a crap? Well, good for you. The people who it's almost like a thing people brag about. Like, I went in a Waymo. Good for you. You put your life in peril with a ghost driver. No, thank you. Let me know how it all turns out. If they're still going and they are driving through stop signs and stoplights and showing up in Atlanta where they're not wanted, then I'll get in. For the time being, I'll continue to drive myself.
I like driving.
Me too. That's why I'm sad that in 5 to 10 years, they're not going to want us on the road anymore.
That's not going to be the case. So I told you we got something to watch tomorrow night on Netflix with the Rousey-Carano fight. But also this weekend, I don't know if you saw this, is the series finale of the Amazon show, The Boys. You guys know that show, right? I think it's the 6th season, and The Boys is ending. The finale is this weekend. It's a very, very popular show, which comes from a very popular comic that they have brought to life. And I got to be honest here. I've tried several times. Like, I've watched, I think, the first 3+ seasons of The Boys. I've tried several times to get into this show. I keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and I can't stick with it. And you would think someone like me, I love superhero movies. I love Marvel. I love DC, Star Wars. Yesterday was George Lucas's birthday, Star Wars, okay? I love these kind of movies. You would think that I would love, whatever, man. You would think that I would love The Boys. And Dave, it doesn't hold me. I can't stay with it. And it had me thinking, like, this is one of the rare shows that you would think is up my alley, that a lot of people really love, and I don't get it. Like, do you have a show like that you would see, like, wow, everyone likes this show, I give it a try, and just, I can't do it. It's not for me.
Definitely. Well, first of all, I've never seen an episode of Murder, She Wrote. I never saw Simon and Simon. And they were popular long-running shows. But the one currently that I think people would think like, oh, you must watch that show, Family Guy. Never seen an episode. Why? Because I've taken a stern posture against it because I'm a Simpsons loyalist.
Really? You think you're betraying The Simpsons if you watch Family Guy?
Well, I don't think Family Guy exists without The Simpsons, and that's a straight line. But yeah, no, I feel like The Simpsons. I've seen enough clips, and I've heard people do the impersonations, and the Stewie is a thing. I know all that, but that's about the extent of what I know of Family Guy. Because,
Have you ever seen
I'm loyal to
Euphoria?
Homer and Company. Never have seen an episode of
me
Euphoria.
neither.
No, I assume that's one of those ones that ain't. I was like. The people who like our contemporaries, I'm sure you know guys like this, like a Full House. They bellyache about Full House. Like it's so. Have you ever seen Full House? It's not funny. It's like they don't make it for you, man. It's for little kids. Same thing. Euphoria. Like I don't think I'm supposed to be watching it. People would find me a creep if I were, right?
I'm presently rewatching Full House with my daughter. We only got a dozen episodes left. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Well,
and she
that's
loves
nice.
the
Well,
show.
that. Because you're a girl dad, that's why.
Yeah, that's right. A very special bond. Although it's like my dad and I had very few things in common. It was wrestling, going to movies, and we would watch Full House together. So it's like a weird thing that I'm handing on down.
Full House was the show that you and your father would watch together?
Yeah, because he would have me on Tuesdays, and it was on TV, and we loved Full House.
That's nice.
Me and my father, the
Nice
show
little
that we used to
divorce
watch.
dad hat.
Me and my father, the show we used to watch every week, we would never miss Martin.
Martin was a great show.
Good choice. Good choice.
There is a gaping hole when it comes to TV syndication. The original binge watching. I miss it. I used to be a Family Guy fan, and not unlike the Drake Kendrick Lamar discussion that we were having, South Park did an episode in which they totally took out the writing process. Basically, it was just a bunch of manatees grabbing random balls in an aquarium and putting together a Family Guy storyline, and I stopped watching Family Guy after that. I'm like, they absolutely murdered them.
I like the thought of Dave being like, I'm a creep if I watch Euphoria, and everybody's like, yeah, you know what? That's about right. Because what I know of Euphoria, I'm like, who is this for?
Yeah, well, not for us is the answer. But to answer Zaz's original question, I gave The Wire a try. The Wire, everyone says The Wire
What?
is this.
You couldn't get into it?
No, and I gave the first season's very tough, but dude, I extended midway through the second season, and I know like I stopped right before everyone says, oh, it really gets good. If I got to give you a season and a half, no, not for me.
Wow.
I don't get it. I understand it's well made. I know it has its fans. Yuck.
For me, it was The Bear. I've worked in restaurants. I can let you know it's not that intense.
Yeah, dude. The
Like,
Bear.
it's just-
I like the first episode of The Bear. I like the second episode of The Bear. Third episode of The Bear, I'm like, is there more to this? Then the 11th episode of The Bear rolled around, and I said, I'm out.
I love The Bear.
Unnecessary stress.
I love The Bear, and I don't like the way you're speaking about it.
Yeah. What? Patty melt! Patty melt! Where's the pepper? I need the pepper for the patty melt! Oh, I'm hiding the pepper for the patty melt!
You have to yell cousin in the middle of that.
Oh, stupid.
Somebody smoking a
All right,
cigarette
chef.
somewhere.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Where's the pepper? I hid it because I hate you. Oh, corner. Yeah.
Too much with the chef honorific.
Behind.
I'll go doctor. I'll go senator. I'll probably go even coach. But chef is where I draw the line. I'm not calling you chef. I'm calling you Gary.
I do find it interesting that all of them are referred to as chef. Like, they can't all be chef.
The sous chef, you got the main
They're
chef.
all chef, apparently. Me and my father, we never miss Martin. I think it was Thursday nights. We loved that show.
You remember when it was before
so
New York
much.
Undercover?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, New York Undercover. What a show. I don't really watch shows all that much anymore. It's just sports or movies from the 90s. Back-to-back nights, I watched Jade and Fire in the Sky.
Oh, well, I told you, Jade. I told you, a part of my triple feature, sneaking in movies when I was 15 years old. Jade, Linda Fiorentino. Come on.
I'm going to go back
The
and
coach.
listen to the Cinephobe episode that those guys did on Jade because I can't stop thinking about this car chase scene.
Was it good?
There's a car. Well, I've seen this documentary on William Friedkin, the director of Jade and famously The Exorcist, and he's just a terror to work for. Seemed to be a horrible human being, and I didn't know that he directed Jade. There is, I'm not lying to you, a 12-minute car chase here that I think for most of the car chase tops out at 9 miles per hour. and they're going through the streets of Chinatown in the Bay Area. And there is one part where Angie Everhart gets hit by a car. And I've never seen someone fly so far in a movie. It's must watch. And Fire in the Sky, great abduction scene.
Oh, you watch Fire in the Sky?
For the first time. I was always scared to watch it because they would take out print ads in comic books when I was growing up. And it had a very iconic print ad of the dude caught up in the tractor beam, right? And I saw that film, and wow, incredible.
I remember when Fire in the Sky came out. I was young, obviously. That movie was scary to me.
It was scary. That abduction scene is legit scary. Now, the pacing does not work for today because you don't see one of the aliens until like 90 minutes into this thing. But, Dave, I'm curious your thoughts as someone that was of high school and college age in the 90s. Jade and Fire in the Sky. How say you?
Saw Jade in the theater.
Yep.
That's how old a man I am. Also, I talking about what we've missed and everybody else seems to love is I actually just last night started to watch it because somebody in Miami said to me, really? You've never seen any of the John Wick movies? And I said I should correct that. I should check these out. I watched the first hour of it. Consider me underwhelmed so far. I'm gonna stick with it. It's fine. He's a killing machine. I get it. Great. How many different times do we need to see him shoot a guy up close, turn the gun up, shoot him from under the chin? Like just basically Keanu Reeves shooting guys with the gun pointed at him from extreme angles. But it also occurs to me with the rewatching of old movies that I was flipping the dial, and what did I land on? Every time I see it, I'm going to watch Hunt for Red October. It's one of those movies that if it, wherever it is in the movie, you end up sitting there watching it. And I realized it has now surpassed for me. This isn't a qualitative assessment for me. I don't like Hunt for Red October more than I like Shawshank. But I've officially now seen Hunt for Red October more than I've seen Shawshank, because for all the complaints that I helped perpetuate, like, is Shawshank Redemption ever not on the cable dial? All of a sudden, the last couple of years, it hasn't been on very much, and Hunt for Red October has surpassed it in terms of total watches. How say you?
I mean, you know how hard me and my dad laughed the first time Shanae came on the screen? Martin played Shanae. He was the actor.
What?
He was playing Shanae.
What?
And Broman? You know about Broman?
Bro, man.
In rewatch, I didn't notice this initially, but the Jesse Katsopoulos' cousin that came over from Greece, that was also John Stamos.
Really? Huh. Does it hit you a little bit different now when Aunt Becky comes on screen?
Say what?
Say what?
You know what I'm talking about.
She does what?
Colleges, the money.
What'd you just do with your hand?
She looks tremendous.
Yeah.
Fighting shape. Netflix fighting shape.
A little bit shady, though, these days. A little bit shady. Anyway.
I've seen every episode of MASH against my will or otherwise. It was the only thing, to Mike's point, syndicated sitcoms. I vaguely recall Gomer Pyles being fed those at a very young age, but then MASH took over, and it wasn't just one episode, much like you see Seinfeld or Friends episodes rerun back to back. That's what filled my TV after school. MASH. Yeah. I had to endure the transition from Trapper John into Beach. That whole thing, that complete overhaul.
Summer vacations in Miami meant that during a stretch of the day, Nickelodeon turns to Nick Jr., and you're too mature for that. So you go around the dial and you settle in the heat of the night on WSVN.
Oh, what a show. What a
Matlock.
show.
Matlock.
You know why? They kept showing In the Heat of the Night on Channel 7? They showed this show well into the 20 teens.
Yep.
And it's because SVN, the parent company, owned the redistribution rights to that series, so they were self-dealing. And they kept that and Matlock on the air forever.
What a movie, In the Heat of the Night. Come on, the original? Dave, you know what I'm talking about.
Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier,
it was
right.
Yeah, very strong. What happened, though, speaking of rerun half hours, after hours, Red Shoe Diaries.
Oh,
yeah,
of
I know
course.
I know Zaslow.
Of
Zaslow
course,
is an
Showtime.
avid viewer.
Yep.
An avid viewer.
Of course.
Pants on?
All right, you don't need to
Maybe
say
not.
it so loud, but yes, I liked
Maybe
Red
not.
Shoe Diaries.
More of a Terradice guy on the E! channel.
Yes, of course.
The storylines, the important storylines, the scenarios that what was his name? Zoltan? Whose Red Shoe Diaries were they? There was always a name in front of them. They belonged to some guy. I don't know who it was, but it was like Zoltan's Red Shoe Diaries. And then they always laid out these scenarios on a train or from outer space or who knows what. Like, I'm going to have to go down to the planet Earth to experience what this thing sex is about. And all that backstory. Fascinating stuff week after week. Red Shoe Diaries.
Dave, you know about those taxi cab confessions?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now
I
you're
remember
talking.
Watching those as well. Yeah, that was good stuff. As well.
House.
Dream On. Brian Benben.
You know about that Air Force Amy? The
Tony and Chris
Bunny
Cody don't know what it was.
Ranch. It's a Stella Soprano. Got too hard of a chuckle from Dave. Seize on it.
We like to have fun.
Oh man, you never got into The Wire. That's
No, but I would stick around for the After Hours program, and no doubt.
Man, I did a re-binge about a year or two ago of Martin. Holds up, man.
Yeah.
Still really funny.
I watch all these things back, the movies from the 90s and Full House too, and I'm like, man, that's a one generation when they say, you know, we had it made. The internet was, even like early internet was still exciting and not weaponized against us. The 90s, man, what a time.
90s are the best.
Alf,
the best.
Alf sucked, though.
Yeah.
Easy. Big Alf guy.
I remember my first time getting in a cab in Vegas. Just kind of like looking over my shoulder. Like, am I in it?
You were hoping.